Sahanavavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti 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 Samasta Jana Kalyani Niratam Karunamayam Namami Chinmayam Devam Satgurum Brahmavidvaram Satgurum Brahmavidvaram. Om Shri Chinmaya Satgurave Namaha. 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 So far we have covered 8 chapters in Bhagavad Gita. In Bhagavad Gita Dhyanam, we chant Ambatvam Anusandadhami. Means again and again we have to chant these chapters, reflect on the meaning of these chapters, and also try to see the flow of ideas. So in few sentences per chapter, let us try to see the summary of chapter 1 through 8. You don't have to note down, huh? Just enjoy. All of you have studied it, nothing new. First chapter began with Arjuna's dilemma. A very powerful warrior having this dilemma, what should I do now? He goes on talking about different confusion which is there in his mind, different things which are bothering him. Bhagavan doesn't speak a word, speaks very few words in first chapter. Most speaking is done by Arjuna. Then in the early part of second chapter, Arjuna finally says, Bhagavan, I think I can solve my problem, but really I don't. Really speaking, I can't. I am your disciple. Please tell me what I should do. This is a very important teaching insight Bhagavan gives here. Teaching is effective only when the person wants to learn. Imagine if Bhagavan directly started talking about the supreme most truth and how to come out of bondage, how to meditate, everything. And if Arjuna asked, but I am going to fight a battle now, why are you telling all these things? Bhagavan says, no need to teach until the student feels, I need this knowledge. So the early part of second chapter is Guru Upasatti of Arjuna, where he feels, I have evaluated my problem in different ways, finally come to this conclusion, on my own I cannot solve it. Life challenges, evaluated thoroughly, and come to this conclusion that with my own understanding, intellection, I am unable to come out of this for good. Then Bhagavan smiles at him. Second chapter gives the main teaching. O Arjuna, your bondage is because you are thinking yourself to be something different than what you truly are. Viveka Chudamani also, we are going to see this today. Bhagavan doesn't discuss any other topic. How does he start the teaching? You are the supreme most truth. You are avyaya, changeless, immutable, infinite, that truth you are. Because you have forgotten this, you have come to identify with this body and mind. Through this body and mind, there is samsara. All your confusions will go away once you realize your true nature. Bhagavan thought it solved his problem. He looked at his face, blank expression. Means you are saying it's okay, but I don't buy it yet. Then Bhagavan said, the preparation to reach this stage is Karma Yoga. So in order to prepare for self-abidance, the sadhana for that, to get the fit instrument, is Karma Yoga. Then in second chapter, Bhagavan briefly elaborated about what is Karma Yoga. Not doing an action is not a choice. If we have to do our actions and duties, we might as well do it as worship of the Lord. Remembering Bhagavan, doing whatever we are supposed to do, not getting too anxious about how it will turn out. This advice Bhagavan gave in second chapter. Third chapter, Arjuna got confused. He said, Bhagavan, on one hand you praised knowledge. You said that will liberate me from all sorrow. And in the same breath you said, Karma Yoga will bring you a lot of good. So conclusively tell me, what am I supposed to do? So Bhagavan elaborated on what exactly is Karma Yoga. What is Gurudev's definition? Group of people coming together for a greater good by dissolving individual likes and dislikes. It might be in my family, it might be in my work, it might be in any place. Whenever I am able to become small, remembering the Lord, any action done with that spirit, it might be giving glass of water. That action becomes Karma Yoga. Remembering the Lord, the other side of it is ego becoming small. That Bhagavan elaborated in different ways, giving example of the cycle of creation. He said whole creation runs on the spirit of yajna. That was Karma Yoga. What is the benefit of this Karma Yoga? Not material success. That is byproduct. Success in this world is a byproduct of Karma Yoga. The main result of Karma Yoga is this mind seeks self-abidance. The mundane things of life look very insipid. And this mind wants to taste something higher. Whenever that happens, we should understand our own nishkama karma of the past is working. Nishkama karma means selfless action. Any action that is done with desire, the result of those actions are, it will give us the desired object. If somebody wants to go to Swarga and does actions to go to Swarga, what is the result of that? One day he will go to Swarga. Means better destinations, better enjoyment. But if somebody does selfless actions, remembering the Lord, does his duties, remembering the Lord, result of that is quest for liberation. A result of that is greater love for God. That was the third chapter. Fourth chapter, Bhagavan takes up a very important topic: how to see actionlessness amidst actions. What was the prana verse of fourth chapter? Karmanya karmayah pashyet akarmani cha karmayah sah buddhiman One who can see the actionless self amidst actions and doesn't mistake the actionlessness of ego to be actionless self. That person is a wise person. This topic Bhagwan elaborated until 5th chapter. So 4th and 5th chapter, they are related in this way. How to see that actionless self amidst actions, and how not to mistake actionlessness of the ego to be the actionlessness of the self. By this, 5 chapters are done. Now the main topic of the first 6 chapters is self-abidance. First we have to do Shravanam, then we have to reflect upon it. But in spite of doing that, there are some erroneous notions which linger on. So the antidote to those erroneous notions antidote to that erroneous notion is nididhyasanam, meditation. So for self-abidance, the most effective sadhana is meditation. So that topic Bhagwan took as the topic of 6th chapter. What is the preliminary step, preliminary preparation for meditation? Karma Yoga. That's why the topic of Karma Yoga was discussed again in 6th chapter. So as far as my transactional life is concerned, how to keep a calm and a peaceful mind? Karma Yoga. What should I do with that peaceful mind? Dhyana Yoga. So in this way, 6 chapters Bhagwan elaborated the most essential topic. In and through all the 6 chapters is self-abidance. In Sanskrit, what is the phrase of self-abidance here? Atmanishta or Tvam Pada Shodhanam. How to inquire into the implied meaning of the word thou. Mahavakya says, that thou art. What does thou refer to? Not the body, not the mind, but the self. Abiding in that self, which we call as self-abidance, which we call as jnana nishtha, is given to chapter 1 through chapter 6. Different obstacles which might come in that journey of self-abidance, those are addressed. Karma Yoga is addressed. How to live our day-to-day life, all of that is addressed. Now after 6th chapter, Bhagwan took up the topic of devotion. So 7th chapter began by describing what is the nature of the Lord. How was it described? Bhagwan said, I have my apara prakriti and para prakriti. I alone appear as his creation. If you cannot think of it directly in this way, think about my vibhutis. Rasoham apsu kaunteya prabhasmi shashi suryayoho. What is the purpose of showing vibhuti? Through that vibhuti, I can think of my Lord. Thinking of infinite Lord is difficult. But looking at Gangaji and saying, this is Ganga Devi, my Bhagwan appearing as Gangaji. Looking at Mount Kailasha and saying, this is my Lord Shiva. He said, that is easier, start with that. Then he pointed out different types of devotees and finally said, those who meditate upon me, they attain me. Because of some words that he used in 7th chapter, Arjuna asked a question in 8th chapter. Then Bhagwan first elaborated all these terms that you are using, Adibhuta, Adiyajna, Adidaiva, Adhyatma. Whose names are these? Are they 5 different people, or is it one consciousness through different conditionings known in all these different names? So they are all my names. Bhagavan says that one consciousness seen through different conditioning is given different names. Conditioning of body, it is called as Adiyajna. Consciousness expressing in one body. Consciousness expressing in totality. Adhyatma. Consciousness expressing through the conditionings of bodies. Adhibhuta. So like this, different terms were given. The bottom line was, everything is me alone. Then Bhagavan, how am I supposed to remember you? At the time of death, but also otherwise. Whole chapter described how to increase Bhagavad Smriti. After this 8th chapter, Bhagavan continues the topic of devotion. So the 9th chapter which we are going to see is also a chapter on devotion. There are two very beautiful verses that come here. One verse is very popular. Yoga Kshemam Vahamyaham. Those who put their mind in God, Bhagavan says, their needs are taken care by me. Their needs are taken care of by me. So he is as though telling us, you do what you have to do, I will do what I have to do. What is our role? Put our mind in God. And who is supposed to worry about our well-being? Bhagavan says, I will worry. What do we do generally? Flip the role. So Bhagavan, worrying part I will do. Bhagavan says, who will remember? So that is one very nice topic that comes in this chapter. This chapter has the only guidance in entire Bhagavad Geeta probably on how to do puja. How to worship the Lord. If you have half an hour, what you can do. If you have just 5 minutes, what you should do. And after you have done your puja, how to worship the Lord all the time. That insight will be given in this verse, in this chapter. Patram, Pushpam, Phalam, Toyam. Offer one leaf. Patram is leaf, not letter. One Mahatma ji would joke, he had heard one satsang. भगवान बहुत दयालु है, उनको आप फूल भी चढ़ा सकते हैं, पत्र भी लिख सकते हैं. You can give him a leaf, you can give him a flower, a fruit, or little bit water. And say, Bhagwan, I hope you are doing well. I bow down to you. May my day go well. Hey, this much is good. These two are unique ideas of this chapter. I hope all of you are familiar now with how we study these chapters. In the beginning, you draw this sketch outline. Then when you see verse by verse, you do the details. And you fill the colors and everything. Then finally you see that whole picture should come alive. So the outline of 9th chapter. What are the key ideas? Verse number 1 to 3 is praise of Brahma Vidya. Verse number 1 through 3. It's a tongue twister, 1 through 3. Brahma Vidya, praise of Brahma Vidya. Verse number 4 and 6 is essential nature of the truth. Essential nature of the truth. If you note this down, you can independently look at this chapter and see whether these topics are there. Verse number 7 through 10, Lord's nature and creation. 7th verse through 10th verse, Lord's nature and creation. Verse 11 and 12, erroneous notions about the Lord and their consequences. Erroneous notions about the Lord and their consequences. Verse number 13 through 19 discusses the topic, God alone appears as everything. God alone appears as everything, 13th through 19th. Verse 20 and 21, desire-led actions deepen bondage. Actions driven by desire, they deepen our bondage. Hmm. 22nd verse, Bhagavan says, Lord takes care of devotees' needs. This is the main verse, Yogakshemam Vahamyaham. Lord takes care of devotees' needs. 23 to 25, worship of other deities and their results. Verse 23 to 25, worship of other deities and their results. Verse 26 through 28, worship at the altar and worship at all places. Worship in front of your altar and worship at all places. That is 26 through 28. Then 29 through 34 is Lord's grace and power of devotion. 29 through 34, Lord's grace and power of devotion. Now these are broad outlines. Based on the interpretation of the verses, the flow of thoughts, you see these topics. Because it's possible to divide the chapter in a different way also. So don't take this to be the only way to look at this chapter. Okay. Now let us see the first verse. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Idam tute guhyatamam Pravakshamyanasuyave Jnanam Vijnana-sahitam Yajñātva mokshase shubhat. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Idam tute guhyatamam Pravakshamyanasuyave Jnanam Vijnana-sahitam Yajñātva mokshase shubhat. Bhagavan says, Idam tute guhyatamam. This truth, which is there in front of me very clearly, which is also guhyatamam, it is a secret. You know where the name of this chapter comes from, huh? Raja Vidya, Raja Guhyam. It's the top secret. Pravakshami anusuyave. O Arjuna, I am going to tell this to you because you are anasuyaha. Anasuyaha means one who doesn't find faults in the teaching. Just literal meaning we will see first. This truth I am going to tell you. Jnanam Vijnana Sahitam. You will gain this knowledge and you will also gain the first-hand experience of this knowledge. Means this knowledge will not become something which is true because Guru says so, Upanishad says so. This knowledge will become true for you. I am Brahman because Guru says so. I am Brahman because Upanishad says so. Versus, I am Brahman is my conviction. He says you will not only gain knowledge, but you will gain this clear conviction. Jnanam vijnana sahitam yajñātvā mokshase ashubhat. Having known this knowledge, you will become free from all inauspiciousness. Ashubha means inauspiciousness. And the greatest inauspiciousness is samsara. Constant transmigration, you will become free from that. Now let's look at the words little closer. What is the first word? Idam. Idam means Bhagavan is telling, I am seeing this truth very clearly. The traditional example given is hastamalakavat. Like if you put an amla fruit on your palm, you have clear cognition of what is this fruit. You have no doubts about it. You don't have to ask somebody. I say just like that fruit is evident, like that the truth is evident to me. Later on, Bhagavan will use a word, pratyakshaavagamam. Means I can see this pratyaksha. But remember, pratyaksha is not through eyes. Truth cannot be seen through the eyes. What is the meaning of pratyaksha? Doubtless knowledge. Doubtless knowledge. Think about this example. Let us say you hear the statement, speaking the truth brings good results in life. Walking on the path of dharma brings good results in life. Now somebody might have heard it. Jnanam is there. But he is not convinced about it. Because he sees others who are speaking untruth and getting rewarded. And this person who is speaking the truth might get scolded. What is his knowledge? That statement, dharma brings good results. That knowledge is called paroksha jnanam. It is somebody else's opinion. I am not convinced yet. But let us say in his own life he tries out dharma. Uses logic to understand. If that person is getting good results, in spite of speaking untruth, I should understand these good results are coming from his past truth. Whatever good he has done in the past, that is presenting today as good results. Result of untruth can never be good. Using this logic, using his own life experiences, he understands holding the path of truth, walking the path of truth will bring good results. What is that knowledge called as? He says that is pratyaksha jnanam. Pratyaksha means it is his own knowledge. See, knowledge is same, huh? Speaking the truth brings good results. In the first case, it was paroksha. It was somebody else's wisdom. Because he had doubts. In the second case, he has clarified his doubts. Doubtless knowledge. He says, walking on the path of truth brings good results, is my conviction. So Bhagavan says, idam jnanam means this knowledge, which will be doubtless knowledge, It is doubtless for me, it will be doubtless for you also. That knowledge I am going to teach now. That is the meaning of the word idam. Idam means that which I see clearly. What is the next word? Tu. Whenever the word tu comes, it means change in topic. So until now, Arjuna, we saw the topic of upasana, 8th chapter. What I am going to teach now is different from upasana. What I am going to teach now is the topic of jnanam, not upasana. What is the result of upasana? Which mukti do we get? Sadhyo mukti or krama mukti? Krama mukti. Sadhyo mukti means immediate. Krama mukti means sequential. So in upasana, Jiva goes to higher worlds, there he gets liberation. He says, this is not that kind of knowledge. What I am going to tell now, if you understand, right here, right now, you will be liberated. Drop the conditionings, understand yourself to be the self, job is done. That's why he says, idam tu. Tu means different topic. Next word is beautiful. What is the next word? Guhyatamam. Supreme most secret. I read a nice definition of secret. That which you tell everybody to tell nobody. Just between both of us, don't tell anybody. This secret has a very nice understanding, nice meaning. Guhyatamam here means we cannot understand this knowledge on our own. Brahma Vidya is that in spite of knowing Sanskritam, in spite of having several other resources, if that avidya has to really go, one has to follow the traditional method. Shravanam, Mananam, Nididhyasanam. Then Pathanam is helpful. You cannot start with Pathanam, Mananam, Nididhyasanam. See, Pathanam also if we do, we will read some book only, right? And book, person only wrote. Means somebody must have written. You can do this exercise. Let's say there is one Upanishad that you have not studied so far. I studied all Upanishads. Which one? Take some Upanishad which you have not studied. Let's say Ramottara Tapani Upanishad. Anybody studied? Okay, thank God. Any other Upanishad I would pick, you would say you have studied. Ramottara Tapani Upanishad. Try to get a commentary of it. Let's say Sanskrit commentary is there, something is there. And see whether you understand that Upanishad, see how much you understand of that Upanishad. Then you find some source where you can do Shravanam of that Upanishad. And then see how much is our understanding. He said, this verse was there in front of me. I read the commentary also. I read word by word meaning also. He says, that is the beauty of this knowledge. It is Guhyatamam. It will not present itself unless we approach it with humility. Not that it is not available. It is available to everybody. That's why somewhere I had read, open secret. There is nothing secretive about this. But the point is, it will make itself known only when we approach it with Shishya Bhava. That is one meaning of Guhyatamam, secret. Another meaning of secret is, it will remain a secret only until you know the truth. Now, this word secret goes with world. How this world is appearing in this way, it is the biggest secret. How come this one consciousness is appearing as manyness in this creation? He said it will keep appearing until you know the truth. Think of it like this. There is a magician. He goes on showing you one trick after another. From his hat he takes out a rabbit. Then he makes it into a stick, sparkler stick. And you ask him, how are you doing this? What will he say? It's a secret. Until when will it remain a secret? Until you know his tricks. So it is said, just like the magician is showing us different tricks, Bhagavan is showing us this creation. Where is this said? Dakshinamurti Stotram. Maya viva vijrumbayatyapi maha yogiva yasvechaya Maya kalpita desha kala kalana. This whole spread of time and space and this huge creation, who is showing this? Magician called God. Until when will this secret continue? It says, until we know the self. Having known the self, this entire play of Maya ceases to exist. Bhagavan is wonderful, you know. He said this whole creation, it cannot run without me. Creation cannot run without me. So he went and hid himself behind this Maya, behind this mind, and is comfortably sitting there. And this whole magic show is going on, different things are being shown. So Guhyatamam means this magic show will continue until we realize the self. Idam tute Guhyatamam. Then what does Bhagavan say? Pravakshyami anusuyave. Now Arjuna must have said, Bhagavan, this great knowledge, supreme most truth, most secret, why don't you tell others? Bhagavan says, there is something very special about you which I like. Look at Arjuna. Huh? All these titles he is getting from the Lord himself. Bhagavan says, you are somebody who doesn't find fault with teachings. Asuya means to find faults in good things. Asuya. Anasuya means not to find faults. What is an example of asuya? When this person is always discontent. Particularly with philosophical topics, he will make sure that whatever is being taught, he proves it to be wrong. So Guru tells him, there is only one truth. Brahman alone is real, everything is unreal. You know what is his question? Oh Guru, please tell me, whom is this knowledge being given to? He says, Shishya. Who is giving the knowledge? Guru. Then how many things are there? You say, Guru is there, Shishya is there. And what did you just say? There is only one truth. So when this teaching is happening, how do you say there is only one truth? What is this example of? Asuya. This is not a Purva Paksha. Huh? This is an example of Asuya where in the same teaching one tries to find faults. And this much we should be convinced, there is no question that we can come up with whose answer has not been given in Vedanta. No question. We might not know all answers, which is okay. But there is no question which is yet to be answered in Vedanta. The point is, am I willing to listen? That student who listens with faith, Bhagavan says, that student you are. Therefore, I am giving this knowledge to you. Pravakshami anusuyave. Then what does he say? Jnana vijnana sahitam. This word vijnana we have seen before also. Right? What were the three words? Ajnana, jnana, vijnana. Ajnana means knowing too many things, too many words. Jnana is to know that one truth, alone appearing as everything. And vijnana is, while seeing everything, paying attention to the truth, to that one truth. Seeing only ornaments, ajnanam. Knowing that gold alone has become all ornaments, jnanam. While seeing ornaments, paying attention to gold, mahavijnanam. In and through that name and form, we are able to see gold. This meaning of vijnanam we have seen before. Another meaning of vijnanam is anubhava yukta jnanam. Another meaning of vijnanam is anubhava yukta jnanam. That knowledge which is strengthened with one's own experience. I have heard about the truth and I have seen the truth. There is a difference. Let us say you go for a vacation somewhere. Where would you like to go? Switzerland. Beautiful Alps, the mountains are there, you have seen those mountains. And you come back and you describe that scenery to your friend. How will you describe? Oh, these mountains, they are huge. How are they? Snow-capped or green? Let's say they are snow-capped mountains. Beautiful mountains, snow-capped mountains. Can you do justice to those mountains by describing about it? What will you finally tell your friend? You have to see it yourself. Describing about the mountain, jnanam. Seeing that mountain yourself, knowing the beauty of it, vijnanam. Discussing about Atma, thinking about Atma, jnanam, needed. Shifting attention to Atma, vijnanam. Jnana vijnana sahitam. If that happens, Bhagavan says, yad jnatva mokshase ashubhat. If you are able to shift attention to the truth, abide in the self, you will be freed from body identification, sorrow coming from this body in this life, and hereafter. Hereafter means no more rebirth hereafter. Okay. I think we'll pause here. If you have any questions to ask, every time we rush through the Q&A. But if you have anything, you can ask now. We have a few more minutes. You know, in counters they have the token and it displays how many more remaining. I think we should have that for questions. so that I know every day how many questions are remaining. Yes.
Hari Om Swamiji.
Hari Om.
Asuya, I thought it was more than discontent, it is jealousy. In this context where Bhagavan is giving, how should one take it?
Asuya, jealousy, the word which is more used is Matsarya. Matsarya means Mattaha Sarati. Somebody is going ahead of me. Or generally we call it as Irsha. That is jealousy. But here Asuya is more related to philosophical topics. So in darshanas, there is one tendency to find faults with other schools of thoughts. Or sometimes to find faults with our own school of thought. Bhagavan says you are somebody who doesn't find faults with anything. That way. Anybody else? Please line up, that way I know how many questions are remaining.
Hari Om, Sohamji.
Hari Om.
Just one question I'm wondering about. In the spiritual traditions in India, there's a history of these philosophical debates amongst different swamis or
schools of thoughts.
Yeah, they will have like Sankara defeated somebody else, or so and so wise person won the debate.
Yes.
What is the purpose of these debates, and is it in this tradition of like trying to not to question things, or can you elaborate?
No, the purpose of those debates were to arrive at the truth. Have you heard the word satyagraha? What is the meaning of satyagraha? Insistence for the truth. Agraha for satya. One good example is debate between Mandana Mishra ji and Bhagwan Shankaracharya ji. You know what was the condition? First you have to place your point, means the opponent's point, to opponent's satisfaction. So if Shankaracharya is debating with Mandana Mishra ji, he has to explain what is Mandana Mishra ji's standpoint to his satisfaction. Then he has to give an answer. And if you are convinced that the other person's view is correct, you will not hesitate to follow that path. So it's a very healthy debate. A lot of clarity comes in that. You should see the debate between, not debate, the Bhashya written by Ramanujacharya ji. When he explains Advaita Vedanta, students of Advaita Vedanta get clarity about our own darshana. He is explaining to refute it. But he will explain in such a way that point by point he will say, this is what Advaita Vedanta believes in. And for their points, there will be another counter arguments and so on. Yes. One left, one right.
Hari Om, Sohamji, this is from the previous chapter, the verse Kavim Puranam. The last quarter it says Aditya Varnam Tamasaf Parastat. So why are those two indicators given? I think there was some discussion. I just want, if you can.
Yes.
They both mean essentially the same thing or something different?
No, Aditya Varnam refers to the nature of self as consciousness. That's why we had seen the metaphor of the sun and how it relates with consciousness. Sun illumines everything that comes in front of it. Consciousness illumines everything that comes in front of it. Tamasah Parastat means it is untouched by ignorance. That ignorance which I am striving to erase has never come in contact with the self. The three gunas of Maya, which belongs to ignorance. Tamasah Parastat means self has never come in contact with any three gunas. Tamas there refers to avidya, not only tamoguna. And avidya has three gunas, sattva, rajas and tamas. Parastat means beyond. So beyond avidya means untouched by Maya. Good.
Hariom Somji, my question is, I had a little confusion when you were describing that this verse, the Jnanam here refers to Krama Mukti or Sadhya Mukti. I got a little confused there.
In this particular chapter,
Yeah.
Sadhya Mukti.
Okay, thank you.
Because that word tu is there, right?
Mhm.
Tu means this topic is different than upasana. What was talked about before. Upasana leads to Krama Mukti, whereas Jnanam is Sadhya Mukti. Yes. I can't hear well, if you can. Now you can speak.
Can you hear me, Sohamji? In the previous chapter, I had a question. It said that a person who does Karma Yogam plus Upasana goes to Brahmalogam, and then he was given Upatesam and attained Moksham. So what is the Upatesam in this here? And what is the difference, the Upatesam you get there and Upatesam you get here to attain Moksham?
Oh, very good. What is the precise Upadesham here? 9th chapter. Actually, for that we have to study 9th chapter. Full. Then we'll know what is Bhagavan telling us. Actually, Madhusudana Saraswati ji, in the introduction to this chapter, answers this question. He says in 8th chapter, Bhagavan gave 2 paths. We should not think that moksha is only by walking these 2 paths. Krama Mukti, going to path of no return, or going to Swargaloka, path of return. He said there is something called as Sadhya Mukti also, where we get sadhana chatushtaya, do shravanam, mananam, nididhyasanam, abide in this self, do mahavakya vichara, and be free from bondage. So what is the precise instruction of 9th chapter? Cultivate sadhana chatushtaya. Do shravanam. Inquire into who am I. Drop identification with body and mind. Then do nididhyasanam, abide in this self. No going anywhere, no promises hereafter. Jivan Mukti, here and now. Last question.
Hari Om Somji. My question was, you had mentioned a particular Upanishad that is very interesting to read. I wonder what is the essence of that and how it relates to chapter 9.
No, what I meant was, any Upanishad that you study, what we get by listening is much more than what we get by direct reading. In fact, even that new Upanishad, I guarantee, you will always read it through the lens of what you have learnt. Any new text, you pick up Panchadashi, you pick up any other text, you will learn it through the lens of what you have already learnt. Viveka Chudamani will see a little more about it. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om.